Hello and welcome to today's video.
I was born with a rare genetic condition.
Now we're playing a game of tug of war, and we're losing the battle.
My suffering does not define me. Through every battle I face, I am made stronger by faith.
My name's Olivia, and I am free.
This is part 3 of Ehlers Danlos Syndrome and the Trifecta. If you don't have Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, this is probably going to be the first time you've heard about the Trifecta. So the Trifecta is 1, at the top would be Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, which is a rare genetic condition that I have, and then at the bottom there will be mast cell activation syndrome and postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. These all can be turned into acronyms to be shortened because they are a mouthful. So at the top, EDS, over here MCAS, and over here POTS, P-O-T-S. I've already spoken about Ehlers Danlos Syndrome and I've already spoken about POTS. So what I'm going to tell you about now is mast cell activation syndrome. So what mast cell activation syndrome is mast cells, which are a part of the immune system, and everybody has mast cells. Mast cells are typically triggered during an allergic reaction. So if you have allergies, you may have already experienced the symptoms I'm going to talk about today that mast cell activation syndrome cause. In mast cell activation syndrome, what happens is the mast cells will react inappropriately, and by inappropriate I mean there are way more triggers than just simple allergies, or even a lot worse than severe allergies. There will be triggers such as temperature changes. There will be showers can be a trigger, spicy foods can be a trigger, exercise can be a trigger, and then there are unknown triggers as well as many other triggers that I haven't talked about. But the unknown triggers, I would say, are the most scary because you don't know when it's going to happen, and then you can suddenly go into a life-threatening emergency, and this is known as anaphylaxis, and even worse is anaphylactic shock. Mast cell activation syndrome is a new diagnosis. They just came out with diagnostic criteria for it not too long ago, shortly before I was diagnosed. So it's kind of scary because there's not really lots of different treatment methods. There's kind of just treatment methods that people would typically use to treat allergies, and then there is other treatment methods for people with mast cell. So I am on 2 different histamine blockers, which these are just antihistamines like Benadryl and Allegra, but I am on the higher than the max dose for both of those. And then if that doesn't control things, then there is also something called a proton pump inhibitor, and this is more so for people who have GI symptoms related to mast cell activation syndrome. And then there is over-the-counter Zantac, and I am also maxed out on that and the proton pump inhibitor. And then even furthermore, if that's not helping, then you can increase treatment with something called a mast cell stabilizer. And these kind of, pretty much like the name suggests, it stabilizes the mast cells so that they don't keep on attacking the body, because during a mast cell reaction the body gets attacked, and some parts of the body start to struggle. So you can have different organs that start to struggle. You can have things like your heart and your brain, your bones, your skin. Just like Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, all parts of the body can be affected. This is different from an autoimmune disease because since everybody has mast cells, there's not a particular antibody that is different from the average person, but more so our natural antibodies do not act like they're supposed to in a normal person's body. If mast cell stabilizers, along with the many other types of treatment I have talked about, don't work, then you can take it a step even further and you can get a different type of treatment that is known as, and it's classified as in the others immunosuppressant category, and this is an immunoglobulin binder. And so it takes the mast cells and it tries to bind them to proteins in the body so that it doesn't bind to different parts of the body and try to attack that. Like for me, my GI symptoms are really bad, so I have inflammation in my stomach, and since I have other conditions, my heart is also being affected and I go into anaphylaxis quite often. The last type of treatment that I'm going to talk about isn't used too often. Many doctors don't like to use this method because it can actually make things a lot worse, but a last resort option would be chemotherapy, and there are different types of target. It targets certain cells in the body. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but it tries to destroy the harmful cells in the body so that your body is not continuing to be attacked. My doctor has not wanted to start me on any of this because we're at the point of trying the immunoglobulin binders, which I said that are classified in the others immunosuppressant classification, and we are trying to see if that is going to help stop the disease from progressing, because mast cell activation syndrome for most people is a progressive disease, and so we're just trying to stop things, or at least like slow them down from where they're at right now, just kind of stabilize everything so that it doesn't progress anymore or progress quickly. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying right now. So far it's been doing a very good job, and I'm very thankful that I'm not waking up every single day anymore with hives, and I also haven't had an anaphylactic reaction since starting my immunoglobulin binder injections. Last thing I'm going to talk about is how else mast cell activation syndrome has affected me. And so like I said, it has caused me to go into anaphylaxis. It causes me hives every morning. So far since starting injection treatments, I have not had hives every morning, just about once a week now. It can also cause my asthma to flare up. It also causes me to have a very low immune system. And then the last thing is that paired with my malnutrition and mast, I have hypocellular bone marrow, which is where my bone marrow is not producing cells at the proper rate. So for a normal person at my age, which I'm 24, my bone marrow should be producing cells at a 70 to 90% rate, but my bone marrow is producing cells at a 20 to 50% rate. And this isn't good because since I have Ehlers Danlos Syndrome and I already have issues with malabsorption and everything, my body doesn't heal itself like it should, and I also am more immunocompromised than my doctors would like me to be. And then I also have severe anemia even after iron infusions, and so it just decreases my health even more so than my conditions should. So right now we're just working on stabilizing everything, and hopefully once things with the coronavirus have calmed down, then I can get the feeding tube to at least help with the malnutrition part. But that is the end of this video. I hope that it was helpful. I hope that it was informational for the people who want to inform friends and family members. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Go check out my channel. I have lots more videos on there. If you enjoyed those, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification sign, and you will get notifications when I upload new videos. Thanks. Bye.